West Virginia State Senator Richard Ojeda is an Army veteran who is running for a U.S. House seat as a Democrat on a fairly progressive platform. So he's big on working class issues. He supported the teacher strike in West Virginia. He takes no corporate PAC money. He wants to get the influence of money out of politics. He supports medical marijuana, net neutrality, DACA. He sounds like a fairly progressive candidate. Except he also voted for Donald Trump. Now, admittedly, I'm a little late to the party here. So Ojeda already won his primary race with an impressive 52% of the vote. But I want to talk about him because I find this whole thing really interesting. So before I dive into it, I want to show you a clip of this interview he did with Cenk Uygur on TYT discussing why he voted for Donald Trump.
It says in my notes that you voted for Trump. Is that true?
I did. I supported Donald Trump.
Really interesting. Why is that?
Well, 30% of the Democrats in the state of West Virginia voted for Donald Trump. At the time, this was about my neighbors. This was about looking at the people that I grew up with in Logan County, West Virginia. I come from the coal fields. And, I got sick and tired of watching the people that I love, the people that I've known and grew up with, basically spending their days, on the unemployment line, or the ones that were actually working, basically being told that it's only a matter of time before we're shutting down. When the coal industry is down in these parts, it affects everything. Small businesses close shop. Even the funeral homes were basically doing nothing more than, cremations, because people couldn't afford to actually do funerals. And that's the way that it was. And all I could think about was just trying to do something to hopefully allow the area in which I am from to finally do better.
All right. Now, I have a lot of thoughts about this. So first up, it's clear from this clip here that Ojeda voted for Trump because of coal, because Trump was the only person who was speaking to coal country, was speaking to the lack of job opportunities, was speaking to how the coal industry has been decimated. And if you live in West Virginia, a lot of your life, a lot of your family members, a lot of your friends, they depend on the coal industry. So if you have one candidate who is speaking to that, Donald Trump, and the other one, Hillary Clinton, who is not, then it's going to get a lot of people out to vote for the guy who is speaking to coal country. And he's one of those voters. Now, this may bother a lot of people that here's a progressive who voted for Donald Trump, because Trump is certainly not a progressive in any way. But you should at least be able to understand that these are people that don't have a lot. They don't have a lot of money. They don't have a lot of opportunity. So when you have a person, a politician, speaking to your industry that you depend on, then despite every other crazy position that Trump had or anything nuts that he was saying during the campaign, you're willing to ignore that because of the potential opportunity that voting for Donald Trump might give you. Now, when I first saw this, I had trouble digesting it. Because the way I see this, if you're dumb enough to think that Donald Trump is going to actually do anything for you, that he is trustworthy in any way, then how can I trust your judgment as a politician? How can I trust you if you couldn't read during the campaign that Donald Trump was a con man, that he was a terrible person? Then how am I supposed to trust you when you are actually in your seat as a politician in Congress? So once I get past that, and that's a big thing to get past, you can understand why Ojeda would be running on this sort of platform. So take the Trump voting aside. Actually, no, don't take it aside. Take it as part of the campaign, because for Ojeda, saying that he's a Trump supporter or was a Trump supporter, was a Trump voter, speaks to a lot of the people in West Virginia. Now, you may think that's crazy, but the way I see it is it gets him in the door. So if he comes out, or he's come out and said, I'm a Trump voter, I was a Trump voter, that gets the ear of people in West Virginia. And now that he has their ear, he can then start talking about other issues. And issues that are progressive, working class issues, issues like medical marijuana, issues like education, like healthcare. Now, I should note that he is not as progressive on some of those positions. So when it comes to education, he is not for tuition-free college, but he does want to do something about easing student loan debt. And he's also not for Medicare for all, but he is for a public option. So he's not, he doesn't take the progressive position across the board on all these issues, but he is, in general, a progressive on a lot of these issues. And especially a lot more than the majority of Democrats that are currently in Congress. So this is how you win. This might be the only way to win as a progressive in West Virginia. Get your foot in the door, pretending, or not pretending, but saying that you were a Trump voter. And I assume he's not pretending. I think he is a Trump voter. But then sell them on the other issues, on the working class issues, on the progressive issues, the issues that people care about. How money in politics is a massive issue across all the U.S. And everyone is aware of that. Everyone knows that money influences politicians. So when you speak to these issues that most politicians don't talk about, that can win over votes. And even if he may have done something crazy, like vote for Donald Trump, it doesn't discredit his entire platform. So what I think is most important here are his policy prescriptions and his intentions. So he voted for Trump with the intention of this will be better, with the intention of this is going to help people. And he was wrong, but the intention was there. He had good intentions. And when you mix good intentions with correct policy prescriptions in his platform, and even though some of them I don't think he goes far enough, but largely they are good policy prescriptions, then this is a candidate that actually cares about people. And it's clear from him winning that primary race with, that's a large margin he won by. So 52% of the vote is massive in a primary. He clearly is speaking to people in West Virginia. And even though I may think, again, that it was nuts to vote for Trump or to think that Trump was in any way going to help you, he has the right platform and he has good intentions. And ultimately, I think that's what matters most in a candidate. Hey, if you like this video, hit that subscribe button below and consider throwing me a few bucks on Patreon at patreon.com/therationalnational or therationalnational.com/join.